Hi to all, my name is Zai, and I've already reviewed the Dream Machine's DM1, which is a great mouse. They've recently brought out the S version though, which has some improvements, including the 3360 sensor. There's no need to go over all the details again, so I'll leave a link to the original review on screen now, which will open in a new window. I'll also leave it in the description. Now, before we begin, special thanks to MWAVE for getting me a copy to review. If you don't know already, they're a leading online retailer in Australia, so if you're from Australia, definitely check them out. And just quickly for those asking, yes, the DM1 is the same shell as the SteelSeries Sensei. It just doesn't have the buttons on the right. But it's only similar to the Zowie FK series with the overall shape. It's not the same. Size-wise, it's actually in between the FK1 and the FK1 Plus. Anyway, what I want to focus on are the differences between the original DM1 Pro and the new S version. The original was about 88 grams, and the S version is lighter at about 84 grams. The buttons feel and sound a bit different, so here's a listen to the clicks on each. There seems to be less snap on the clicks on the S version, and that makes them quieter. Mouse 3 also feels improved on the S version. It might be a bit higher now, and it's easier to press in. The original is too tight. Scrolling up and down is a bit smoother, and there isn't much difference in the steps or noise. The side buttons are about the same, but the DPI switch on top is slightly raised on the new version. As for click delay, using the test by Bloody, it appears the original is slightly faster, but in the human test, it seems the S version is slightly faster. The results are too similar to make much difference though. Put the rest down to potential human error. Overall for the buttons, the improvements are minor, but good. Looking at the shape and materials, they have the same rubberized coat and plastic buttons. The difference is the logo on the back is a bit smaller on the new version. The feet are the same, but the cables are different. The new one is softer, a bit smoother, and if I push on it, it bends, which is good. But if I do that with the old one, it's stiff enough to push the weight of the mouse backward. And the cable is 1.6 meters, so a bit off the usual 1.8. When tapping it, it's not as loud, and when shaking it, there's no lens rattle. A lot of 3310 mice have the lens moving around a bit. The 3360 seems good. Now, speaking of sensors, let's test the implementation. A lot of people are excited about the 3360, but for me, I can't really tell the difference in game. I can play at the same level with either. But just so you know, the 3360 in this works as it should. Here's some rocket jumping, and now zooming in for the sniper test, pixel by pixel, then speeding up a bit. I found it tracks as expected for each DPI level, so obviously a very good performance. I mean, we're dealing with arguably the top optical sensor, so there's really no surprise here. For liftoff distance, they say 1.8mm, but this isn't tracking on one DVD, on a cloth or hard pad, and the DVDs are meant to be 1.4mm high, so it's really low, which is what people want. It's hard to test, but I can't find any acceleration or deceleration, and while we're at it, here's a look inside the updated box. You get some extra mouse feed too. For responsiveness, they feel about the same, no obvious delay. The only real difference, and I don't know exactly what it is, but it seems like the 3310 doesn't have a high enough tracking initiation speed. So if you tilt the mouse on its side and then make it go flat at the last second, it causes it to spin out. I've never done that in game, so it's not an issue for me, which is why I'm happy to continue using mice with the 3310. But if your technique causes this issue, you have two options, either correct your technique, or get a mouse with the 3360 sensor. It's the only one that can handle it so far. In the line test, the red lines are the S version, blue lines are the original. Both perform basically the same, and there's no angle snapping, no skipping, no jitter, no jolting, and the liftoff movement is well controlled. It's perfect as you can expect. Neither DM1 has software, and their lights change with the DPI steps, but the S version has an extra step. 400 is red, 800 is blue, 1600 is green, pink is 3200 on the original, but is 2400 on the S, and orange is now 4800. The extra step is of course 12,000, which is greenish yellow on the wheel, and yellow on the back. Now for some highlights while I give my conclusion. It should be fairly obvious. If you have the original DM1, you don't need to upgrade. If you want a cheaper mouse, obviously get the original. But if you have a problem with your technique causing the 3310 to spin out, get the S version. If you want the slight improvements on the cable, buttons and others, also get the S version. For now, I'm not going to change its recommendation rank, because the differences aren't that big a factor. Still, they're good improvements, and I'm sure many people will be glad to have them. And also glad that the original is now cheaper. That's something that could raise its rank. Anyway, great mouse, still highly recommended. Hope that helps. If you're from Australia, you can get both of these mice through MWAVE, so I'll leave the direct links for that in the description. If you're not from Australia but want to help support the channel, check for the other links in the description, usually Amazon. Like, share and subscribe to help me grow the channel, and I'll leave you on a 180 play, which also features some well-timed dodging. Enjoy!
Impressive. Red wins the round.